I am extremely excited to have our special keynote speaker. I want to just tell you something before I tell you about her, but I am a New York girl. I grew up and spent my entire growing up in New York State. I have been hearing about Betsy McCaughey for years and years and years.
Don't say how many.
And I won't. but all I know is that I always love to hear her speak on the radio and hear about all she was doing. And so it is like mind-blowing that she's here with us today. I am so very excited. And I guess there's still a lot of me that's still a New York girl. You can take her out of the state, but you can't take the New York out of the girl. So anyway, it's just so exciting to have her here. Betsy McCaughey is a patient advocate, constitutional scholar, a regular contributor on Fox News and CNBC, and a former lieutenant governor of New York. In 1993, she read the 1,362-page Clinton health bill. It warned the nation of what it said and made history. Well, today, Dr. McCaughey is doing it again. She is author of the book, Beating Obamacare. And it is a New York Times bestseller. And in fact, it is for sale outside, $10, cash only, but she will stay after and sign, she has said, if you would like to purchase one of her books. And I have read it. I have read it cover to cover, and I found it fascinating, and very helpful, very helpful. But here's the woman that started it all by reading the bills, Dr. Betsy McCaughey. Thank you.
Well, I'm so glad to be here and to see so many friends, some very old friends. Joanne Kudo, 30 years ago we were friends. It was so great to walk in the room and see her. And so many new friends that I've made in my 6 recent visits to New Hampshire. I'm crisscrossing the country, helping to empower all of us to take a very effective stand to protect ourselves and our nation from this law. This law that lowers our standard of care, puts government in charge of our care, and takes away something as precious as life itself, our liberty. We have to make 2014 a referendum on overturning this law. We should have done it last year, but we're going to do it next year. So my job is to arm all of us with the facts, the information, to make such a compelling case that no one will be able to go into that voting booth in 2014 and vote for a candidate who wants to uphold this law. And then, in 2016, we're going to elect a president of the United States who is unambiguous about repealing this law, and even more important than defending this law, defending this, the United States. We need a president who understands it, reveres it, and will protect it. That's not what we have now, unfortunately. So more about this law. This law says that beginning in 2014, you have to enroll, I guess I'm attached here, you have to enroll in this one-size-fits-all government-designed health insurance plan. And when you go to file your taxes, you literally have to attach proof that you have what the government considers qualified insurance. You're going to have to put the policy number right there on your tax form. Now, doing that will protect you from the penalties, the financial penalties, but it will subject you to a degree of government control that you have not experienced in the past. Section 1311 of this law for the first time in history, empowers the federal government to standardize medical care, to literally direct how your doctor treats you. Section 1311 of this law empowers the Secretary of Health and Human Services to dictate how doctors treat even privately insured patients. The law says you have to be enrolled in the qualified plan, and the law says in Section 1311 that those qualified plans can pay only the doctors and hospitals that obey whatever regulations the Secretary imposes in the name of quality. Well, that can mean everything in medicine. When a cardiologist chooses a stent versus a bypass, when an OBGYN decides to do a sonogram or a cesarean. Your doctor's decisions will be monitored for compliance with these federal guidelines. And your doctor may have to choose between doing what's right for you and avoiding a government penalty. Now, we're all women in this room, almost all of us. Sorry, guys. I remember in the 1980s and the 1990s when Gloria Felt from Planned Parenthood and these other women's rights groups, NOW, went to the barricades to stop the federal government from having access to our health records or dictating to our doctor. And now they are supporting a law that does both. How hypocritical. Can you believe it? Now, the president said that this law, his law, Obamacare, was going to solve the problem of the uninsured by making health plans more affordable. You've gotten your premium hikes in the mail, and they're just beginning. Right? As the rates are unveiled this month, we see how much they're increasing. The first 16 states that unveiled their rates saw a 24% average increase in 1 year. For young people, 200% in some states. No, making health plans affordable is not how this law purports to cover the uninsured. Instead, it vastly expands Medicaid. This is an issue of real importance to New Hampshire. You're deciding right now whether to fall into this Medicaid expansion. Half the states have and half haven't. And I know you have a commission reporting October 15th. Beware. The law says that the federal government will pick up the entire cost of loosening the eligibility requirements for Medicaid for the first 2 years, and then 90% of the cost afterwards. But have you ever met a politician who didn't break his promise? Ever? Every single debt reduction program in Washington, every proposal, including the president's own, suggests, recommends breaking that promise. Every single one of those deficit reduction and debt reduction programs, including the one with the president's name on it, says we have to reduce the federal share of Medicaid. So they're going to rip the carpet right out from under you, and states will be burdened with costs they cannot possibly bear. A bipartisan commission chaired by Richard Roberts and Paul Volcker issued a report last summer warning that states that are bamboozled into this Medicaid expansion will find that they won't have enough money left for schools, roads, and other state services. It will all be going to Medicaid. So I urge you to speak out. You are so effective. You are the women in New Hampshire that everyone listens to. Speak out now before it's too late about this Medicaid expansion.
You're here.
Now, just to give you a picture, an overall picture of this law. This law expands Medicaid and purports to pay for it. How? It expands Medicaid by eviscerating Medicare. This is robbing grandma to spread the wealth. Cuts to Medicare pay for over half this law. Cuts to Medicare pay for over half this law. $716 billion less money for Medicare over the next decade. Most of the cuts are to what hospitals are paid. $247 billion less money for hospitals. What will it mean? Well, Richard Foster, the chief actuary of Medicare, warned Congress twice before this law was passed that it would mean a dangerous reduction in the standard of care. And you already see hospitals all across the country laying off nurses, spreading the nursing care thinner. That means that when you push the button for pain relief or help, you wait longer. It doesn't matter how old you are. Could be a 16-year-old boy, a 25-year-old woman having a baby. No matter what age you are, if you're a hospital patient, you're going to wait longer. The National Bureau of Economic Research recently did an examination of what happened last time Medicare was cut. Medicare cut hospital payments, and hospitals had to spread the nurses thinner. They saw a very rapid disparity in survival rates for heart attack patients. The patients in the hospitals that laid off the nurses saw death rates go up for their heart attack patients because some patients had to wait too long.
GrokTV.